Today's lesson is 5.1, Midsegments. The midsegment of a triangle is the segment that connects the midpoints of two sides of the triangle. Now remember, we have seen that word midpoints before. This means we are exactly in the middle of one of the sides of the triangle. We have what's called the midsegment theorem, which says the segment connecting the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side and half as long as that side. Let's go ahead and take a look at a triangle so that we can see what that midsegment theorem is talking about. Here is my triangle. This, hold on, nope. This part right here is my midsegment. Notice it's connecting point D, the midpoint of side AB, to point E, the midpoint of side BC. How do I know that D and E are midpoints? Because of the congruent markings on either side of them showing that each piece from E to the vertex is equal. So this is my midsegment. Notice it is parallel to the third side. Okay? It is parallel to the third side. And so we can mark this, if you'd like, as your parallel side. It's just nice to know where it is. So what the theorem is saying is that the length of DE is half of AC. So I could find the length of DE by multiplying the length of AC by 1/2. Or if I solve this problem algebraically, I come up with a new equation, which means 2 times DE is equal to AC. If I generalize this, I come up with the formula 2 times the midsegment is equal to the parallel side. 2 times the midsegment is equal to the parallel side. Let's go ahead and try this, this theorem with 2 examples. Our first example says XC and ZY are midsegments of triangle LMN. Find MN and ZY. I'm sure those are supposed to have lines above them, so let me go ahead and add those. There we go. It's not a bad idea to use your highlighter to find these segments. So I'm going to just pick a color for MN. There's MN. And as I'm highlighting it, I'm asking myself, is it a midsegment? No, it's not, because a midsegment has to be inside the triangle. This is a side of the triangle. So I can find its corresponding midsegment by finding the one that's parallel to it. These are the midsegments. Well, they told me this was a midsegment and this was a midsegment, but this is also a midsegment. So I'm looking for the one of these 3 that is parallel to the highlighted one. This one is not parallel because remember, parallel means they cannot touch one another. And this one is touching the highlighted side at Y. It's not this one. This one's not parallel either because once again, it's touching the highlighted side at Y. So this would have to be the parallel side. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in a similar color. Those two, I'm going to use those two to help me solve for the length. Okay. Now I'm going to pick another color for ZY. And I can see automatically that ZY is inside the triangle, so it is a midsegment. All I have to do is figure out which side is parallel to it. Now, this is not a side because it touches the highlighted ZY at Y. This is not a side because it touches the highlighted side ZY at Z. So I'm not using these two, which means I have to use one of these 3. Well, obviously it's not this highlighted side because they touch each other, the yellow and the blue, at point Y. It can't be the bottom because they touch each other at Z, so it has to be this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and pick a different shade of blue. Okay. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put a little m by the one that's the mid segment so that I know which one's the mid segment. Now, I'm missing some numbers, so let me go ahead and add those numbers to my picture. You guys should have them on your foldable. There we go. 28 centimeters for ML, and then 26.5 centimeters, 5.0 for XZ. All right, so let's start with XZ because that one was the one that we did first, right? MN. Remember the formula says 2 times the midsegment, 2 times the midsegment equals the parallel side. That's my formula from the other side of my formula, of my paper. So I'm going to say 2 times the midsegment. I'm only putting it in blue because it's the one with the M, equals the parallel side. So to find MN, all I have to do is multiply 26.5 times 2 for an answer of 53 centimeters. And we're done. That wasn't so bad. Hey, what was that? There we go. All right, we're going to use the same formula to help us find ZY, but I'm going to say 2 times ZY equals the parallel side of 28. I can still solve this equation, but this time I have to actually think of it as an equation. If it helps, this is your x. 2 times x equals 28. How would you get rid of the 2? You divide. You're going to do the same thing here. Divide by 2, divide by 2, and we have zy is equal to 14. Of course, I think Delta Math will give you the unit if it wants you to use it. All right. Now the last example today is going to add algebra to our problem. So notice they're telling you that all P and Q are midpoints. This time they're not using the word mid-segment, they're using the word midpoints. So that means this one is the middle of this side, that one is the middle of this side, and this one is the middle of that side. By definition, then these three lines that make up the smaller triangle inside are in fact mid-segments. If it helps, I can come in here and put my little M's for mid-segments right there, and I know that those are my mid-segments. All right, LN, let me see here, there should be a line above that. LN is 18 minus 4x, and OP is 8x minus 16. We just have to solve for x. Let's go ahead and use our highlighters to help us find LN and OP. Okay, LN and OP. I'm going to do OP first. Not that it matters, I'm just doing it because it's the midpoint, the mid-segment. Okay, so what I know is that I'm going to take 2 times OP and it's going to give me LN. That's what my formula says. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. 2 times OP is equal to LN. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to substitute. And I can use my highlighters for this as well to help me out. LN, I'm going to replace with this one, and OP, I'm going to replace with that one. Now I know I'm using the same color blue, but I'm going to use the lighter blue first, and then I'm going to use the darker blue. Okay, there's my equation. You could also come in and go ahead and write those on here, right? You could go ahead and write it right like this. and we can solve this equation for x by distributing first. Remember, we're solving for that x, right? So we would distribute the 2 first. Since we have an x on both sides, we're going to move 1 to the other side. So I'm going to eliminate this one to the other side. I'm adding it because there's a minus already, and I want to do the opposite to get it to cancel. I cannot cancel if I do the same sign. That just doesn't work. I'm wanting 0, right? I want 0x because I can erase this and it doesn't have to be there. Let's see, that would give me 20x minus 32 equals 18. Now I have a two-step equation. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the number that doesn't have the color next to it. That's the 32. I would add it because it's already subtraction. Once again, when I'm canceling, I want them to be different so that I can actually cancel. When I have a number with my variable, the letter x in this case, I'm going to always divide. I think that one's going to come out to a fraction, 5 over 2, or you could do it as the decimal 2.5. Your assignment for today is in Delta Math. Will have two types of questions, one like example 1 and one like example 2. Good luck, and I'll see you next time.